Welcome back to another episode of Carnage Unleashed. My name's Wade. I'm here with yours truly, Kev and Clayton. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, doing good. Coming down from a good weekend of fights makes for a long week, but made
I hear
Saturday
it.
that much more worth it, right? It was a
Oh, for
fun it was
sure.
a fun card. It was a fun little card for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I was working an event, so I got back for the main card, and I saw some clips of the preliminaries, and there's some good ones, especially on the early prelims. That Jasmine, I saw that it was
Yep.
like a brutal stoppage.
All three of the prelims ended in a submission victory, so lots of
Love
finishes
that.
all around. So very, very fun card for sure. Kev, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, guys. It was a little less of a fight-centric weekend than it usually is for me, but Wade and I were out on the pitch doing our first ever indoor soccer, major league indoor soccer, as it were. So can cross that one off the old bucket list. Hopefully, I haven't heard the official word yet. Hopefully they bring me back, but it was a great time. I can't wait to review the that's always the nervous part, Clayton, as you probably know, going back and trying to listen for where you can improve and think it's like, oh, I missed something there, or I use that word too many times tonight or whatever, It's I can't wait to go over tape, but yeah, it was a great time calling a game, the home opener for the Ohio Extreme. It was a battle against the Colorado Bucks, but now I got to focus up because well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in the wrestling minute. I'll let that wait.
Kev, since we got into it a little bit, how about you tell them about that venture?
Oh, the BSP project
Yeah.
over in Lima, Ohio. So we are actually blessed through just the great work we've done here as Carnage Media on the Carnage Media pay-per-view team. We've gotten some opportunities outside of the fight game. And so since it doesn't always necessarily make sense for Carnage Media to be doing some of the things we've done, we've been working with the folks over at Black Swamp Productions. It's a great. We've done a comedy tour so far with our boy Jaden, the Tank Talker. He's got another one I think coming up soon. But our biggest get so far, our most, at least for me, because I'm a big sports guy, as you know, was our contract to do all of the home games. So we're doing every home game for the Ohio Extreme on MLIS.com. You can catch those all for free. So go ahead and be sure to watch that. And then I would follow us over at Black Swamp Productions. And if you need a team for video, doesn't have to be pay-per-view, it could be a commercial, it could be anything. Even if you just need help with the post-production or the back end of things, give us a shout. We are also doing some work with some teams on films. So lots of big stuff coming from Black Swamp Productions. So Wade, was there anything I missed in there? Anything else you wanted to talk about with those guys or with the soccer schedule in general?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, we wanted to expand just outside of just combat sports as well and have some other opportunities. And so we teamed up with Black Swamp Productions, and we got some exciting things in the works. So I think you did great this past weekend. I was there with you. I was definitely chuckling.
Always good to get the owner's stamp of approval, Kev. You're heading the right way.
Yeah, I'm pumped about that. And as Clayton knows from the side of the octagon, it's always a goal of mine to try to work a couple laughs in there because at the end of the day, we are sort of background noise, Clayton, except for those big moments, the big knockouts or the big goal. All of a sudden, our audio becomes a part of that moment. But 90% of the event, we're there to either fill some knowledge gaps for the new fans or just to kind of, it's just narration, right? And so I don't know. It's a great thing to be a part of it, but I do always love to work a couple jokes in there, try to make the production guys laugh at least. And we didn't have a commercial break, so that gave me plenty of opportunities to chop it up with Wes and Chad, who were also phenomenal. So be on the lookout for more stuff there. And of course, we'll be covering all of that on bitesizesports.com. I actually just finished writing up our recap on that game because a lot of cool stuff happened. Some great players for the Colorado Bucks and the Ohio Extreme. So we'll be keeping our eye out on more. We love local sports and more obscure sports over on the Bite Size Sports side of things. I just said sports a lot in that sentence. And so it's just been a great partnership to have these three groups working together, and I really look forward to what we do in 2024. So be on the lookout, and if you're interested in working with us, feel free to DM me or find the BSP Facebook group, send us a DM.
Absolutely.
Add time over until the very end, I think.
You know, you do ad read so well.
Thank you. You do, for sure. If there's anybody that I would trust on our team to do ad reads, it's definitely not me. So
even the two new guys that came and commentated with him were like, "You got it, you do it."
They told me at the end they wanted to take the sheet away to see if I had memorized it yet, because it's
you definitely did, right?
I was feeling pretty good about it, although Mr. Was it Brian Weimer-Skirch? That one I had a hard time saying that.
Oh yeah,
State Farm agent. Hey, that's a freebie, Brian. You're welcome.
It's always the State Farm guys. There's like one in town that's some Mesa Juicy or something like that.
I know what you're talking about because I've seen that sign for his office. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a secret State Farm cabal. They actually, it's part of their training is they create a fake name that will stick out.
Yep.
It's very smart.
So, with that exciting news for this Saturday, there was also some great fights. So, Clayton, what'd you think?
Overall, I was very, very satisfied with this card. Let's just jump right into it. The early prelims started with 3 straight subs. This card was held in Toronto, Canada. I believe that Canada ended the night with only 2 victories and 6 defeats. So a little bit of a tough look for Canadian MMA, but Jasmine, I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. You guys know this. I'm not good with that. But she had an anaconda choke to end out their fight, the second fight on the prelims. So that was a good one.
Yeah, she had some brutal ground and pound, though, before that.
Yeah, like that fight could have been stopped had she not gone for the anaconda choke right there.
Oh, for sure.
Watching Malcolm Gordon get subbed was kind of surprising. They opened against Jimmy Flick. He ended up leaving with the rear naked choke. The other big prelim fight that I want to talk about is the featured prelim, Brad Katona versus Garrett Armfield. Armfield walked away with a unanimous decision. For those of you who don't know at home, Brad Katona is the only 2-time winner of The Ultimate Fighter. He won season 24, something like that. A season in the 20s, and then he just won season, I don't remember if it was 31 or 32, but the one with Connor and Chandler. All right. He won that season, and the reason that he found himself back in the Tough House is because he went 1-2 in the UFC, and they just released him. There was no 4 fights rule with Brad Katona, and the reason that is because he doesn't finish fights. Like, Brad Katona is just a decision machine. There's not a lot of value in the UFC's eyes to a guy who's not going in there and trying to finish fights. So I'm interested to see how his second stint will go, because he's just won the season on August 26th, the same day that Sean O'Malley beat Aljamain Sterling for the bantamweight title. That was on the undercard of that. Beat a guy named Cody Gibson who teaches school. Like, his day job is literally a teacher. They showed in the stuff leading up to the fight that he, like, all of his students made, like, "Go Mr. Gibson" posters, like, in the hallways and stuff like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. But I'm interested to see how Brad Katona does going forward, because he's got to start piecing some wins together if he wants to stick around, especially if he's not going to finish fights.
That kind of reminded me of Rich Franklin.
Yeah.
He was
a teacher too, right?
Math teacher from Cincinnati, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right. Let me look that up real quick. UFC Hall of Famer, I might add as well.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is be boring in this sport. And anytime I hear somebody talk about not finishing fights, I know I like to make the CM Punk jokes a lot, but anytime I hear what was that guy's name, Mike something, that just dominated him but wouldn't finish the fight, and then Dana
Oh
White
crap! What was his name?
in the post was like, that guy, we're past 3 minutes. He's like, that guy can get the fuck out of here too, for all I care. Like, I never want to see him again. The guy who won the fight because he wouldn't finish it. And it was such a one-sided fight. And it's like, come on, man. Don't play with your food. Just finish it. So
Mike Jackson. That was
Mike
his name.
Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and that
sorry,
was his
Mike
last fight in the UFC too. They were both done. The boss was not happy after that one. Dana was not having that. But Rich Franklin was a math teacher from Cincinnati, Ohio, and he was once called Angry Jim Carrey by Joe Rogan.
Yeah, they used to joke how he kind of looked like Jim Carrey.
He does for sure.
Oh, only mistakes. What up, bite-sized Vikes? Thank you. Yes. I don't know what that means, but thank you.
But moving into the main card, I believe his name is Mavsar Evolev, moved to 18-0. Beat a tough guy in Arnold Allen. The only other UFC loss for Arnold Allen up to this point had been to Max Holloway. Max Holloway kind of kicked the crap out of him. That was the card that I watched in the woods when we were supposed to be camping with ROTC. But had to make sure to get that one in. Chris Curtis and the guy he went against, Mark Andre, whatever. Whatever it is.
Yeah, I think
they had a fun little fight too. They called Chris Curtis the action man for a reason.
Yeah. I thought it was a little bit underwhelming.
I
thought it was more technical because I thought it was going to be just like all out kind of brawl, but it was a lot more technical.
Curtis has had over 40 pro fights though at this point, and he's 36.
Yeah,
like he might be starting to slow down. I read a really good article one time on Chris Curtis. He was on the regional scene forever, got a finish in the Contender Series, but they didn't sign him. They just didn't want him for whatever reason. Kevin Holland also fought on that card too and won, but they didn't sign him either. But Chris Curtis started bouncing around again on the regional scene, wound up in the PFL. Right, there's a chance to win $1 million. And if you're not going to be in the UFC, the PFL is pretty much the next best thing. And he ended up making the tournament and lost. Ended up losing his fight. He's like eating in the back, and the promoter comes and gets him and is like, "Hey man, something happened. The other middleweight fight fell out. Do you want to come back?" He was like, "Yeah." So he jumped back into the cage, got knocked out, retired, and that was it. But he ended up ending his retirement, got back on the regional scene, got a couple wins, and took a short notice fight on the UFC. And he's been in for 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
I think it's about 2 years now.
Yeah, and he trains at Extreme Couture with Eric Nixick and Sean Strickland. So, he's in there getting some good training. Ranked middleweight. He was 14 on Saturday. I bet he'll move up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I said, Chris Curtis Fight Night, Cincinnati, Ohio. Book it. Book it. We're taking the company card and we're going.
Yes, let's do it.
Sign me up.
But the next fight was a little, probably not what the UFC brass wanted. Neil Magny, the known gatekeeper of the welterweight division, been around forever. He was on The Ultimate Fighter back in the day. Ended up finishing Mike Malott with 15 seconds to go. And people were saying Mike Malott's like the next big thing in Canadian MMA because Canada hasn't really had that superstar since GSP. It was supposed to be Rory McDonald. That just didn't work out, and nobody's really taken the spot.
Yeah, that fight, I thought Mike could do it. Like if he would have just kept with them leg kicks, he really hurt Magny in like the end of the second round, I believe. It was just brutal leg kicks, and if he just kept that up and kept that game plan, I think he could have pulled it off. But he kind of like went away with him.
Just got away from it.
Yeah. Man, that one he messed that one up because I thought after he saw that going out of the second round, going back into the third, he would just start hammering leg kicks.
And he landed 22 of them. It's not like he only threw like 5 or 6 and was like struggling to land after that. No, he landed 22 of them. I'm just, no, I'm a little disappointed because Canada's a great market for MMA. They've had events all over the country at this point, and they don't have a star. You know, we were, like I said, we were all kind of hoping that Mike Malott could be the guy, and he's not.
I know this sucks. It's like, oh yeah, and it's like, ooh, dang, dropping the ball.
But moving into the next one, thriller, man. Yeah. Raquel Pennington versus Bueno Silva.
I was surprised, not gonna lie.
I was too. I was kind of expecting Bueno Silva to just come in and run her over.
Yeah, I thought so.
That's not what happened.
Nope, not at all. She started getting in them championship rounds, just couldn't handle the stamina. She started fading fast after that third round.
Absolutely. And Pennington fought a great fight.
Yeah, she did. She fought a really great fight. And her stand-up looked pretty good. She needs to move her head off the center sometimes, but she likes to dip and go over top. But it was working because Silva was just not respecting the power, and she got pieced up a couple times.
Yeah, she
did. I thought she was gonna get knocked out for a sec.
But she walked away. UD 49-46 across the board. It's Juliana Pena next. The UFC has been wanting that fight for a while. So, and Juliana Pena can sell ish. Like she's not like a super well-known name. I think obviously her biggest accomplishment so far is upsetting Amanda Nunes, but she's a name. She's a former champ, so we'll see how that goes.
Thoughts on this though? Man, speaking of Amanda Nunes, did you see such a difference in a gap of ability between like Pennington and or not even Pennington, just the rest of this women's bantamweight division versus Nunes? Like Nunes made every single bantamweight look horrible.
Yeah. Like it makes you wonder like if she really just had an off night against Juliana Pena.
Yeah.
Like she is miles ahead. She could jump in there now probably and beat most of them. It's, man.
Because when I was thinking about Pennington, I was like, man, when she fought Amanda Nunes, like it was not good. She didn't look good. I'm like, man. And then I was watching this fight, and I'm like, was Amanda Nunes just that good? Makes everybody look that bad? Because Pennington, she looked elite, but just not Amanda Nunes elite.
And we got used to watching Amanda Nunes. That's why I said that this fight was maybe kind of boring at times for sure. Like the ending kind of sucked. Like Bueno Silva just laying on her back while Pennington just like half-ass kicked her legs.
Oh yeah, Dana was pissed about that for sure.
Yeah. So, and Nunes would not have let that happen. Nunes would have finished both of them like in the second at the latest. So she could have. It makes you wonder how long she realistically could have defended both belts.
Yeah, I believe she's the only one to defend both belts, like as a
and hold them at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. Goat status.
Easy money. She should get inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. And speaking of that, before we jump into the main event, shout out to Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar was announced as an inductee into the Hall of Fame. So congratulations to the Answer, former UFC lightweight champion, from the New Jersey regional scene, former collegiate wrestler, had a couple of classics with Gray Maynard, one of the smallest 55ers ever.
Yes.
Like this dude was tiny. He was like 5'6", all heart, beat BJ Penn twice. Yeah, just an all-around great champ.
He was. I don't know why he didn't like go down to like 45. He's just tiny.
He was, he ended up doing it like after his career and was a title challenger at 45, but like there's just, it makes you wonder what could have happened if he would have just like started there, or he ended his career at 35. Like what if he started at 35?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, because he would be a huge 35, and with the talent that he had, he could have just ran it like an Aldo, just sweeping the division in his prime.
But Frankie Edgar does hold part of the UFC record for title defenses at lightweight with 3. Can either of you name any of the other guys that hold that record? I think there's 3 other guys.
With 3.
Yes.
At lightweight?
At lightweight.
No, I've got a bad history with trivia the last week too.
I know.
Oh man.
I do not know.
One of them's
Was it
obvious. One of them's
Connor?
very obvious.
Was it Connor?
It was not Connor. Connor never defended either belt that he ended up getting.
You're right. He did.
Yeah, he just got in a bunch of trouble and then got stripped of them both, right?
Made a bunch of money and then just never defended either of them.
And then at one
Taking
point,
a boxing match with Floyd didn't help.
Bare Knuckle
Yeah.
just gave him a belt early on before they were.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, why?
Yeah.
I get that you guys need some money, but come on now.
Can't wait for that. Mike Perry and Connor Bare Knuckle. I can't sign me up, man. Can't wait.
I'm drawing a blank. Give me a hint.
Russian.
Oh, Khabib.
Khabib is 1, yes.
Why is that not coming?
Khabib and Frankie Edgar, and then there's 2 more. One of them was around the same era.
Oliveira, did he do 3?
No, he only had 2. He defended against
Islam.
Poirier, and I think that's it because he missed weight against Gaethje.
No, he won it against Chandler.
That's right. So he would have.
Help us out, chat.
Come on, chat. I know one of you has to know.
I'm just scouring the comments. I'm like, I'm about to snipe someone's comment. Now, full credit. We got to get something up here besides eggs.
All right. I'm going to give you the last 2.
Yeah.
Benson Henderson and BJ Penn.
See, I was going to say BJ Penn, but I kept thinking he was just at 45.
BJ had titles at welterweight and lightweight, I think.
Wow, I don't know. I thought he was at 45 for some reason.
He did compete at 45. He competed at like 5 or 6 different weight classes.
But I didn't know Ben Henderson did that 3 times.
Yeah, neither did I until I looked it up earlier today when I saw Edgar held the record, and I was like, oh, who else has it? But that was kind of cool. So shout out.
Was that because of Strike? Is that because of Strikeforce? No, WEC.
He had it 3 times in the UFC.
Dang, I didn't
want to say
that.
he beat Anthony Pettis.
Yes.
I think he beat RDA. Maybe. I'm looking this up now. This is gonna annoy me if I don't get it.
Yeah, holy cow.
Benson Henderson just retired it was in 2023, I think. Won the belt from Frankie Edgar, beat Frankie Edgar in the rematch. Faced Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz's only career title challenge was against Benson Henderson and ended up beating him with a UD. And then the last one, another not so well named anymore, which is kind of a shame, but Gilbert Melendez is his last defense.
Wow. I did not know. That was crazy. That's good to know.
Now when that guy sitting next to you at B-Dubs is like, well, who'd he defend against? Now y'all know. You're welcome.
He didn't he fight against Anthony Pettis and something? It was like karate.
That was the one where Pettis jumped off the cage and kicked him in the face. That was in the WEC.
Yeah, but then just before he retired, they fought again in like karate or something. And he still lost against Pettis. And then I think he retired shortly after that.
Pettis just has his number, man.
Yeah.
Like that. If you guys need to look up one thing from this podcast, look up Anthony Pettis Showtime kick.
Oh,
it's worth a YouTube search for sure.
I was watching that live and it was just, I was like,
Until people figured him out, Anthony Pettis was one of the most exciting fighters in the sport.
Oh yeah.
People just discovered once you get close to him and take away his kicks, you got him.
Yeah, it's just crazy how how much MMA evolved from that. It was like you could do that, get away with it, but then all of a sudden, wrestling just stormed in.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
However, Anthony Pettis to this day is the only guy to knock out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. The
Yeah.
only guy to ever do it.
Yep. I think he was talking about that too, and he was talking about how he just didn't remember. He got knocked. He said he was being nice to everybody. He doesn't even remember doing that. Like people were like, "Oh, are you good?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm great. How you doing?" Even blacked out, knocked out, he's still the nicest guy you ever meet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good old
But
Wonderboy.
I think it's time for the main event. Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis. Dricus walked away with a split decision.
Yeah. Did you have Dricus winning?
No, I was with the boss. I had it 2-2 through 4 because I think I had Strickland in 1 and 3, and I had du Plessis in 2 and 4, and then I thought Strickland won round 5. I was in literally the same boat as Dana.
I felt that way, but watching it, I'm like, I know they're gonna value those takedowns so much more, and sure enough, they did. But he outlanded his his jab. First of all, was nasty. His jab is stupid.
Sean Strickland is challenging Max Holloway for best boxer in the UFC, I think.
I believe so.
Just a masterclass. People can hate on the Philly shell all they want, but like he makes it work.
Mhm.
Obviously, he came up just short, but there's a lot of people, including me, who thinks he won that fight.
Yeah, solely on numbers, and Dricus only had 2 minutes of control time. Like Sean got up and was able to nullify for the most part. Like really didn't do too much damage with the takedowns. So I don't think there should have been that much value on it.
The difference, in my opinion, was the cut over Sean's eye. I think he was bleeding pretty good.
Yeah,
I think that was probably the difference maker.
And it was just one. It was an overhand. I think it was an overhand right. It just caught him right on that bridge. Man, I thought he had it.
I did too.
It's tough. You generally easy for me to say, think that there's now in the kayfabe sport of wrestling, they have this thing. It's called the champion's advantage, which just means you can't, if the champion loses by disqualification or count out, the belt stays with the champ. Now, back to the real sport here. Okay, that's not for my wrestling fans. Okay, that's for everybody else. When I think of champion's advantage, it's almost like the baseball equivalent of tie goes to the runner. But I've always just sort of had this unspoken rule in my head that if you're going to take the belt from someone, it has to be a very decided victory. Like the idea that if it's a split decision at all, the belt probably just shouldn't be changing hands because like you should really decidedly beat the champion if you're going to be the new champion, has always been just sort of my personal feeling on it. So with that, with that in mind, I was kind of surprised at the end result. So I think I'm with you guys on this one. Go ahead, Wade.
I was gonna say I agree because even Dana said it and stuff. He's like I believe like if you're gonna lose by a split decision, like the challenger has to take it. Like it has to be decidingly, and it wasn't.
That was a great fight though. Sean said at the presser, he was like, "I'm gonna bleed for you guys," and he did. Gave us one heck of a fight. 2024 off to a great start. But Wade, I'm gonna go to you first. What does the UFC do with Dricus now?
I think they're gonna push hard for the Izzy fight.
100%.
Izzy for sure.
100%. They do Israel Adesanya and du Plessis in Cape Town, South Africa. Absolutely. There's no reason not to at this point. Africa is a hot commodity for MMA. Dana's been saying for years he wants to get over there. We had 3 African champions at one point at the same time, and they never went over there. So I'm thinking if you're going to do it, you do it now. Like you do it while you for sure have a guy who has a belt.
Yep, they have to do it now. Dricus got the belt. If he loses it, it's not going to have as much weight. If they get down to Africa, they have to do it now. It's like the best opportunity, especially business-wise, thinking about it.
Exactly.
Got to do it.
And
Got to
you
do
Can't
it.
fumble that again.
co-main.
Yep.
And if for whatever reason they don't put, I've been seeing that they could give it to Khamzat, but like, no, wrong.
No,
There's
definitely
no
wrong.
way. He just hasn't fought enough guys at the top. I don't have a problem with Khamzat. You do Khamzat versus Strickland right now, in my opinion. See how Khamzat's gas tank will really hold up. I think you do a 5-round non-title co-main there. And then you do Izzy versus Duplessis.
Yeah, I want to see a rematch with Nigerian Nightmare. Why can't his name's not coming to mind? Usman, yeah. Usman in a 5-rounder.
You could do that too. And then you do like Sean Strickland versus Jared Cannonier too as the third fight.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I want to see him in a 5-rounder with someone that can nullify wrestling and wrestle just as good as Khamzat or better.
We just got to see where his gas tank ends up, because that's been the big question, right? Is can his gas tank hold up?
Yep. But that's also dangerous for the UFC because he's such a big.
Because what if he loses?
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what it is. It's a business, but yet you want to see these kind of tests for these fighters to really determine who's the ultimate fighter, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's almost like there's a TV show about that.
I think so, right?
But I think that's all we had for the UFC. Should we transition to the champ versus champ card?
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this? I just recently saw it. The PFL just recently bought Bellator, and we had talked about it before about if they would do like a PFL champs versus Bellator champs, and we're like, I don't know. It would be nice, but would it hurt their promotion type deal? And they seem not to think so because that's a thing now.
Right. It is in Saudi Arabia. They're throwing enough money over there. I think the Saudis own like a minority stake in the PFL. I think was also kind of I
think I heard that somewhere.
There.
Well, that certainly explains the decision. Whatever risks that would be involved, I'm sure the money is going to be well worth it to have that event. That's going to be a great payday for all of those fighters. And as far as cards go, I think this is exactly what you need to do if you're going to compete for this space, compete with the UFC for some people's eyes to try to draw big pay-per-view buys, because you may never overtake the UFC. That might just not be possible anymore in the foreseeable future, but that doesn't mean you can't carve out a nice sizable alternative, because the fans, if you put on good fights, the fans will watch it. As long as they aren't being a price gouged by the pay-per-view. So I think this is great, because then as far as fighters go, with what's best for them, their best opportunities at paydays, the more promotions that are out there that have the opportunity to draw money, the more opportunities there are for fighters to become pros and to make money. It's good for everyone. So in my opinion, especially knowing that that's where the event's going to be held, and knowing that it's likely to be a big payday for everyone, I feel like this is a great move for trying to drum up some attention in the MMA world. What do you guys think? What do you think, Wade?
Yeah, I think it's a big splash. Like, hey, we're definitely trying to run for the best promotion in the business. Let's throw champ for champ, get some real hype, get you guys watching this card. And it's got some good people on there. I know a couple of them. I don't know a whole lot about it just because it's hard to watch. They stream it on DAZN or something like that.
The Zone.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you can't tell that's what that's spelling.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. What the heck?
I know, right?
No wonder no one can find the streams.
Yeah, facts.
Talk. It's just words. All the words. They got like Ryan Bader on there for the main event. I've seen him. He fought in the UFC, didn't he? Yeah.
Yep. He was on a season of
Yep.
The Ultimate Fighter, fought
Yeah.
John Jones,
Yep. For
and
sure.
retired Fedor last year.
Yes. Yep. I did see clips of that. Patricio Pitbull, I have seen a lot of his stuff. He's a great fighter.
Yeah, one of Bellator's best homegrown stars for sure.
For sure. I think Patricio fought Michael Chandler for a championship in Bellator.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah. It was him and his brother.
Yes. He did fight Michael Chandler, took the belt from him.
Yeah. You got Yo Romero in there, Diego Santos, both former UFC fighters.
Former UFC title challengers too. Like those
Yeah.
aren't just some scrubs that got cut. Those guys are serious contenders.
Yeah, and they pack heavy punches, so
Yeah.
that would be a good one to watch. I might have to watch this one.
Clay Collard versus AJ McKee. AJ McKee is another homegrown Bellator star. All
Yep.
22 of his pro fights have been in Bellator, so that's kind of a cool little fact for him. Muhammad Ali's grandson, though, is making his pro debut on the undercard. His name's Biagio Ali Walsh. His brother's a pro boxer, signed to Top Rank currently. I watched his amateur debut, which was also in the PFL, and he won by knockout. He started training MMA, I believe, because he was a football player during COVID and was trying to stay in shape and fell in love with it. And he's turning pro on this card over in Saudi Arabia. Clarissa Shields, one of the greatest women's boxers of all time, is also coming back. She's 1-1 in the PFL. And the other big one, well, I guess there's two more that I want to talk about. Ray Cooper, I believe, is another former UFC fighter against Jason Jackson, who just had a huge upset over Bellator's welterweight champion. I cannot pronounce his name. Ukrainian guy, was 27-0 and got knocked out. Jackson caught him. So good for him. It's kind of weird to see somebody else holding the belt over there in Bellator. But the other fight that I wanted to talk about was the co-main. So a lot of people call Johnny Eblen the best middleweight fighter in the world. He's 14-0, just outside of the UFC, so his name isn't as well known. But 14-0 against Impa Kazigne. And you both have seen Impa Kazigne before. Do you know where?
I do not.
He was on the wrong end of the most viral moment in UFC history when Joaquin Buckley hit that spinning back kick.
Oh, that was him?
He knocked out Impa Kazigne.
Oh yeah, definitely seen that multiple times.
Yeah, that's just a tough look, man. That's a hard one to come back from.
I know who I'm rooting for.
But that was just kind of a fun little tidbit I saw. He jumped over to the PFL. He got released from the UFC, jumped over to the PFL after a little stint on the regional scene and bumped up to light heavyweight. I think is where he competed in their last season, but dropped back down to middleweight to fight Johnny Eblen. So this will be a fun little card. I'm with you guys. You know, there's no reason not to encourage competition. The product, I don't think is quite there yet. I think that the UFC has the better fighters for right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just ready. I want to see Francis Ngannou get in there first and foremost. I want to see Jake Paul get in there. I don't care. Like, all y'all can hate on me in the comments, whatever. I want to see what he can do. Like, put him in there against some tomato can and let's go have some fun. Like, that's all we need to do.
I'd watch it just to root against him, but I also want to see what he can do.
Me too. Brings more eyes to the sport. It's a good thing. Jake, to all you haters out there, Jake Paul is a good thing. He is. He's a good thing in combat sports.
Agreed. Sports need villains.
They do.
Especially
they need
combat
villains. They need people to bring eyes. Like,
but you gotta be real though. He's very athletic though.
He is. He has a high school wrestling base. Grew up like 2 hours away from us over in Westlake, Ohio, just outside of Cleveland. I met a kid who like went to his high school, and they said that like the teachers still talk about the Paul brothers being there.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I think I've seen some of those vines, and I saw the reports from their neighbors in California. I'm sure the unfortunate teachers who had to teach the two of them will never forget them. I'm sure an audience of 24 fellow classmates was just as much to get them to scream and do all kinds of crazy shit. But I do agree with you, Clayton. It's equated apples and oranges here, but back in my day, before your time, Clayton, the New York Yankees were actually good at baseball a lot,
Really?
and everybody just wanted to watch them lose. It's Tom Brady might be a better
There
reason.
we go.
We love to need to watch someone lose. So although these guys, I can understand the people who might call them imposters or whatever, but I think at this point he's done enough fights to where I'd like to see him fight a little stiffer competition. But I'm with you. More eyes on the sport is a good thing for everybody. So as long as they don't do anything to really embarrass the sport, you would think. But even then, I mean, it's just more people. And then if the undercard's good, that could build someone else's career. I mean, so yeah, I'm all about it. We need more money fights, not less. And someday we will all get that sweet release of watching a Paul brother get his lights knocked out. I know.
It'll
I know
happen.
if we're all good and say our prayers and eat our vitamins, we will get that. I know it.
You might have seen Logan Paul get his bell rung once or twice. Isn't he in the wrestling?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's gonna be wrestling this weekend, pal.
And he
Oh,
fought
yeah.
Floyd Mayweather.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
That
right.
that fight was so funny. Oh my gosh. Just no skill on his part.
No,
Oh
just
goodness.
slinging the leather. That's all he was doing.
That's all
Hoping
he was
you hit.
doing.
He's
But
at least better at wrestling than that.
I think
Yeah.
that's everything we have from the MMA side of things. Before we jump
so.
into the wrestling minute, should we jump into Ruthless Made 6?
Yes. So it's fight week, guys. Ruthless Made round 6. This Saturday. Trying to pull it up, see get the times right. Yeah, so doors open at 6 and fight starts at 7. Again, Ruthless Made Promotions. They always bring some really good show. So I got a couple of the fighters. I thought one I'm excited to fight or excited to watch is Callie Fairchild. She was
Yes.
electrifying last time, so I'm excited to watch her fight again.
Fight of the night.
Is that a rematch? Right?
I believe so. It's Piper, yeah.
Yeah, let's
Yep.
go. Man, I
That
tell you
is.
what, those two very skilled for their age. Holy crap. Yeah, fight of the night. I hope they get the bag for fight of the night this time.
Yep. A couple more is Brendan Graff versus Gabe Callis. I remember seeing Gabe Callis. Then you got Josh Bales. I think that's John Bales' son.
Mhm.
Then you got Roy Nip. Then Atlas Jackson. Seeing him, he's really good.
Another talented youth fighter. Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
talented. He was in the last fight I saw him in. He was Golden Gloves, I believe, and it was a very chippy fight.
That was
true.
so funny. Oh my goodness. Albert Bell, who Kevin and I were commentating that fight with, just lost it watching it all go down.
But his opponent was just like trying to grab and wrestle him.
I talked to Albert after, and apparently the gym that kid trains at wrestles too.
Oh, so it showed.
Yeah, seriously.
It was like, speaking of Paul brothers, that was like watching the Diaz fight,
Yeah, seriously.
I'm just gonna slip a quick guillotine on you.
That
so
kid
I can.
That kid was like, "Oh, what am I doing wrong?"
You know what you're doing. We see through you.
But he's taking on Braden Goldsmith. I haven't seen him before. We got Dominic Zender. He's been on the card before.
Yeah.
Versus Chris Benjamin. And then we got I don't know. That sounds familiar, but I don't remember. We got Xavier Schaefer versus Victor Vega. Don't think I've seen those two.
Great name.
Those are the only ones that I know of for sure right now. But we also are going to be doing some free fights. So if you're following our YouTube page, Facebook, whatever, we'll be showing some early prelims. So if you're following us on our socials, Carnage Media PPV on all socials, you'll get to watch some free fights. And if you decide you want to watch the pay-per-view event, we'll have the link there for you to click and continue watching the rest of the show. So I'm excited for this weekend to get back into it. I think first show of the year.
Yeah.
First show of the year.
Ready to jump back in for sure. It's been too long. It's been a long layoff. Layoffs aren't always a good thing.
Nope. I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into it. Get ringside, watch these fights again.
It'll be great. Yeah, and Ruthless Made Promotions, the other thing you can count on, it's a great matchmaking, and the presentation is top notch as well. So the smoke machine will be on, the LEDs will be bright, and the DJ will have to test Eddie about 3 hours before the doors open because they might blow the speakers out at that place. So it's a great environment. If you are in the area, by all means, go buy a ticket and watch it with us. But for those of you who can't travel, it is awfully cold in the Midwest this time of year. As Wade said, you can watch the pay-per-view with us. The free stuff will be right here on either Carnage Media or Bite Size Sports YouTube. And speaking of links, you can click on thank you to StreamYard. And StreamYard is the reason we will all be able to watch those free fights. And if you want to do live streaming and or podcasting from your very own home, just click the link down in the description on our YouTube channel right now, and you'll save money on your first month at StreamYard. Sorry about that, fellas. I just couldn't help myself. We got to pay the bills somehow.
I was just going to say, look at you. You slipping that right in there.
Before we move into the wrestling minute, I will say Ruthless Made kind of reminds me of the old Pride days. Like, what I mean? Like Pride, that's the one that is like one of the few things that I wish that the UFC would do, like implement, is like crazy cool ring walks with like wild pyrotechnics and stuff like that.
Yeah, just put on a good show.
It was an experience. It was more than just like the fights, which obviously is the main reason that you're there. But like when you're selling something, you're selling an experience. It's not just like the sport at hand. So I wish that the UFC would buy into that a little bit more. Yeah. I don't think they're going to do it. They need to find like the happy medium between like the crazy stuff that boxing does that's like borderline a concert and like what they're doing now. There's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
Is he trying to break into that?
Yeah, he did.
Did you guys see that? I've been seeing ads for it. Probably because it's Meta trying to push it. Yeah, I keep seeing ads and I'm assuming they'll start with fight nights, but that there will be some unique viewing experience via VR now
in the metaverse.
To me personally, I would much rather just watch a well-produced fight in 2 dimensions, as the method that we've been perfecting for about 80 years now. I'd rather go that route, but so they're trying that, and I'm all for progress. I'm all about that. But yeah, it'll probably take, some other smaller company doing something successfully for UFC to be like, oh, I'm going to steal that. People forget about this, but the XFL, despite its many laughable qualities, is the reason that we have a lot of this Skycam stuff, like the drones that we have in place. The predecessor to that was these side leagues trying to steal attention away from the big guys. So I think that's really where the creativity will come in. But hey, maybe you can watch UFC 300 in the metaverse if you want. I'll be watching it on a big screen, I hope.
Another one that the PFL does to kind of play off of that into the MMA scene is the ref cam.
Yeah.
PFL does a ref cam. Like he wears like glasses, I think is how they do it. Man, can you imagine like the Justin Gaethje head kick through Herb Dean's perspective with the slide at the end?
Oh yeah.
Like that'd be cool. Like, come on now. There's not a fan out there that wouldn't like that.
Dude, you get to go the multi-camera view too, like Peyton and Eli's cast, or just one of the numerous templates you have here at StreamYard, link below in the description. But yeah, no, you could have like the fight be the main 2/3, and then you've got like the ref cam in the bottom, but then like you said, there's a huge knockout. You can switch immediately to the replay and the ref cam. Give me some of that. We gotta talk, Wade. We gotta have a chat after this. We have to make a call.
Yeah, we gotta talk to the boss.
We're gonna have to do a little meeting here.
Damn it! I hope Diamond wasn't watching that. We're gonna hey, for Ruthless Made 8, we need that. We need that ref cam. Be like, shit. Damn it! Sorry, boss. I'm sorry. He's a bit. Kevin, you don't have any idea how much these things cost.
Yeah, buy them little Google glasses or something.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm lost. Well, Clayton, it's all yours now. It's been a good run. Probably my last day. It'll be like, well, we got to come up with the money for the ref cam somewhere, Kevin.
But Kev, I think it's time.
Yeah, you had some exciting stuff for us, right?
Bum, bum, bum. It is the Wrestling Minute. You know it, guys. It is a very, very big week in the world of wrestling. The Royal Rumble is this Saturday. Wade, I'm going to ask you first because I know you know some of this stuff. Were you a big Royal Rumble fan growing up?
Loved Royal Rumble. Loved it. Oh, yeah. People getting thrown out the ring left and right. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Big barnyard brawl. Clayton, are you familiar with the Royal Rumble before I explain to the folks at home what's going on?
A little bit. Not crazy familiar. You guys are a lot more into pro wrestling than I am, but I have heard of it. And once you start explaining it, it will more than likely make more sense.
Absolutely. And that is what I offered in the description today, was a casual fan's guide to the Royal Rumble, because now that these things are on Peacock, they're much more accessible. And so you might find yourself with some time to kill on a Saturday evening, and you might want to watch one of what is now 2 Royal Rumble matches, because the women have their own 30-woman Royal Rumble, which we'll talk about here momentarily. But the Royal Rumble is a 30-entrant competition, with the winner getting a guaranteed match at WrestleMania. It's a guaranteed title match at WrestleMania, so likely a main event. And it starts with 2 folks in the ring, and every, I think, 2 or 3 minutes, I can't remember the timer, but every couple of minutes, another competitor enters, and they fight until the 30th man enters, and then it's over the top eliminations only, and both feet have to touch the ground. So we've seen some crazy things. For years, Kofi Kingston had this bit where he'd get thrown out of the ring and land on the announcer's table and jump back in, or land on the guardrail, but his feet didn't touch the ground. So they get really creative with it. The other thing the Royal Rumble is known for is it's the return pay-per-view, because with the nature of a 30-man Royal Rumble, guys like Booker T, who are 60, can come in, get a big pop from the fans, throw a couple of punches, and then gingerly get thrown outside. Nobody's upset. So the other fun thing about the Royal Rumble is who the hell's going to show up, So it's got those 2 things going for it. So this year it also has a lot more star power than it's had before. So with guys like The Rock stopping by, of course, we've got CM Punk back in WWE. Cody Rhodes is there. Drew McIntyre, a bunch of champion level guys, all vying for a piece. And we know we'll have at least a couple of old legends pop up. So the first question I have, Wade, I'm going to direct this at you first, just since I know you've watched a couple of pay-per-views in your day. The Royal Rumble now, they have, at least last year, they start the event with the women's 30-woman Royal Rumble. They have whatever other matches they have, and then they end with another 30-man Royal Rumble, which last year, to me, caused some problems because they did the exact same gimmick in both matches. They had someone start in the opening 2 and go all the way to the end. So the question is, do you think it's a good idea for them to have 2 30-man matches in one 4-hour event?
That just seems like a lot, man. I don't know
that seems
anything
like a
about pro
lot.
wrestling, but that just, yeah. That's anytime that you have to get like more than like 3 people together, like this awesome podcast we got going on, it can be kind of a nightmare. So I can't imagine like getting us times 10 together twice in one night and like still getting everything to fit. But I did a little research. Because I knew this thing. I just had to double check myself. Who won the first Royal Rumble?
Ooh.
1988, if that helps.
Was it Andre the Giant?
It was not. That's a good guess, though. He had a feud with Andre.
Oh. Wait, do you want to take a crack?
I was trying to think. The Big Show just keeps coming to my mind, but I don't think that's the Big Show.
88.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be Hulkamania, brother?
It is not. That's another good guess, though.
Okay. Oh, so dang. Feuded with Andre the Giant. Well,
Feuded with Andre the Giant. Had a little thing with Steve Austin, too, in the 90s.
Oh, my goodness.
It'll make sense once I say it.
Yeah, it will. I give up.
Yeah, I do, too.
None other than the proud American, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, man, I forgot about him.
Oh, the other real American.
Oh.
Wow. That's great.
And gentlemen, I actually have a submission for the Wrestling Minute.
Ooh.
So I don't think you guys saw this. I wanted to surprise you guys. Last weekend was Pro Wrestling Night at the Slater Family Ice Arena, home of the Bowling Green State University Falcons hockey team, of course. And I was working the game. I was announcing, doing like different promotions in between the time, whatever. And it was also a teddy bear toss that night. And the point of this is, Kev, if I sent you a photo on Discord, could you pull it up?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm going to do that real quick. But the purpose of the teddy bear toss is after the team scores a goal, you throw a bunch of teddy bears onto the ice to give away. And the team didn't score in the first 2 periods. So in between the second period and the third period, they threw all of the teddy bears onto the ice. And my buddy Trevor brought this like big 4-foot teddy bear and was like, hey man, if we score, the goalie said that he would put it on his shoulders. Well, the goalie wasn't out there. They were all in the locker room. And I walk on the ice to go pick up this teddy bear, and I see it, and I was like, oh, I got to do my boy Trevor a favor. So I put it on my shoulders. Kev, can you pull up that picture?
Oh, I can. And here we go, gentlemen. There it is.
That picture, that wrestling mask that I have on was the giveaway for the night. They gave away like 500 of them. And this was the league photo of the night. This was posted on all of CCHA media. One of my friends, after the game, we were hanging out, and he was like, dude, you're famous. I was like, what are you talking about? And then he pulled up this picture, and I was like, oh. And then got a text from my mom on Sunday morning asking what I was doing wrestling a bear on the ice. So
that is great, man.
But yeah, I think I might have a second career in pro wrestling maybe someday. I think I pull off that mask pretty well. The Flying Falcon would be my nickname.
Oh, even better. Okay. Got the name
with the people's elbow off the top turnbuckle.
Oh, I like that too.
He throwing out the wrestling terms on us.
Yeah. That is phenomenal.
I figured you guys would enjoy that, so I wanted to make sure that I brought it up tonight.
Yes, dude. Thank you so much for bringing that. I'm glad that's making the Wrestling Minute. Holy cow. So the last question that I had for you guys, wrestling related, just if you had any, feel no obligation, but if you had the opportunity to fantasy book and maybe throw some famous superstars from your past? Is there anybody you would want to see? Is there a John Cena? Would you want to see Hulk Hogan? Just recently saved someone from a burning car. All right. So he could probably still get over those top ropes, brother.
I know my
Wade.
choice, Wade.
Oh, okay. Heck yeah.
Johnny
Let me hear-
Knoxville.
Oh,
That's my choice. I want Johnny Knoxville at the Royal Rumble.
oh,
I'll
okay.
take
I
it.
like
Hey,
that.
there you got 29 spots. You know, some wrestling fans would get real mad about that, but I'm not one of them. I fine with it. There's history. He's been involved with WWE before. Wade, what about you? Anybody from now? Funnily enough, as we've seen in previous episodes, there are plenty of guys from back when Wade did watch that still managed to earn paydays. You know, their knees probably don't work the way that they used to, but as long as they don't have to run the ropes for longer than 6 minutes, they still get the job done. So, is there anybody that you'd want to see, Wade?
Oh yeah, good old Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, okay. You see, you could, and that's one you could just do a little comedy bit with that one too. Much like how, you know, Johnny Knoxville is probably not going to go in there and do a tornado DDT and throw somebody out the ring. Stone Cold could come up with like a 6-pack and just, you know, offer to cheers a couple people and then hit him with the Stone Cold Stunner. And
I want him to get on the turnbuckles. Stone Cold Stunner somebody.
and then maybe once he runs out of beer, he just hops over the ropes himself.
He just
like
leaves.
that way nobody eliminates him. He's just like, oh fuck it, I need more beer, brother.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
That'd bring the nostalgia back for me.
Booker of the Year 2024, Wade Anthony making a pitch. Look out, Tony Khan. Your days are numbered in that department. That'll get you a good rating on Cage Match, Wade. I promise. The wrestling marks get that joke, but that's okay. Anything else, guys? That will do it for me for the Wrestling Minute. Be on the lookout. There's a big Monday Night Raw tonight. Last one before pay-per-view. So I'll be keeping an eye out. If anything cool happens, I'll update you guys on a little Wrestling Minute solo video. So go check it out. It's on our Carnage Media YouTube channel. Has its own little podcast, The Wrestling Minute, which features these clips that I pull out from the live stream, but it's also going to have one-offs, stuff that we don't have enough time to cover in my little corner of the podcast. And I wouldn't want to force these two guys to listen to this all night. So we've got our own little place for you. So fire away in the comments if you want to hear more stuff. But that is the Wrestling Minute for this week. Thank you, gentlemen, as always, for entertaining me for a few minutes.
Okay. Before we get off, I saw a question.
Ooh.
Says, will Max Holloway be too small for Justin Gaethje, or will he be able to take the power? What's your thoughts, Clayton?
Max Holloway, I saw a video. I've talked about these guys before. MMA On Point. They do a great job. They're based out of England, and they did a study of who has the best chin pound for pound ever. And they gave it to Max. Max Holloway has never been knocked down. Max Holloway has fought Alexander Volkanovski 3 times. He's fought Dustin Poirier twice. The only guy at featherweight that Conor McGregor did not finish was Max Holloway. So Max Holloway's a tough dude. He's got a great chin. But Justin Gaethje is a monster. Justin Gaethje is the guy that Chuck Norris tells like everyone else to stay away from. The only guy that might be able to beat Justin Gaethje in a karate fight is Chuck Norris, I think.
Yeah.
Legend has it the boogeyman checks under his bed every night to make sure Justin Gaethje's not there.
Yeah, because he's throwing freaking sledgehammers at you. So
yeah,
man,
I just don't know if Max will be able to take the leg kicks. I think his chin will be fine. I'm not really worried about that, but that is a wild fight. I posted on my story with the song "It's a Great Day to Be Alive" in the background when Dana announced that fight. They're stacking the crap out of that card, man. It's just missing a headliner. I'm interested to see who it would be. Yeah, exactly. Max Holloway broke into the UFC when he was 19 years old. He was 4-0. His first fight in the UFC was actually a loss to Dustin Poirier. Mm-hmm. Dustin Poirier got him with a rear naked choke, but Max is an animal, man. He's been around the game forever. He's fought the top guys. He's beat some of the top guys. The only guy that he can't beat at featherweight, I would argue, in the history of the division is Volk. I think he beats anybody else that they put in front of him. So it'll be interesting. I just don't know if anybody, not just Max, but like if anybody can hang with Gaethje's leg kicks.
Yeah, his leg kicks are on another level.
He's just a wild guy, man. In a sport that's inherently violent, these two dudes like stand out to me as two of the most violent guys in the sport, and definitely deserve to fight for the belt known as the baddest motherfucker in the game. So very, very excited. Who you got, Wade? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the only concern for me was those leg kicks. So can Max check them leg kicks and not let that affect his movement? Because Max really depends a lot on his movement, his angles for his boxing. So I think that's what's going to come down to. I think it's going to be hard for Justin to land clean shots on him because he moves so well. His movement is probably some of the best footwork in the UFC. So
just ask Calvin Kattar, right?
Yeah. So them leg kicks are going to come in handy, and if he can, I know it's going to be a guaranteed part of his game plan. So can he execute? That's the question.
Exactly. I agree. This is, like I said, UFC 300, you're just missing a main event. Alex Pereira incoming. Heard it here first. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for us. Kev,
for sure.
Where can we find you, brother?
Oh, you can find me tomorrow night. I'm pulling double duty. You can find me on the Clout Route. It's a shout out episode, shaking things up this weekend or this week, whatever day it is. And then I'll be talking NFL potentially with Bite Size Vikes, who's been in the chat today. Shout out to John. Thank you, John, for hanging out with us. You'll also find me on Bite Size Sports on Thursday night at 9 p.m. talking NBA on the bounce with my co-host Keebler and James. James is the host of the Wednesday night show, Han Shot First on Dweeb, where we're talking Star Wars. I think we got a preview to review. And then, of course, you'll be able to find me this Saturday. But I got enough that I talk about, so I'll let Wade tell you about Saturday night when it's his turn, which would be right now. Wade, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me on Carnage Media PPV, all social media. And as well, this weekend, round 6, Ruthless Made. Stay tuned, follow our pages, like it, and you'll see some great fights this weekend. And then if you want to watch pay-per-view, you're always welcome. The link will be there. Clayton?
Absolutely. Once again, folks, Wapakoneta, Ohio. Come find us for Ruthless Made Promotion 6. But you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at cscalina12. Make sure to follow my podcast, the Hot Take Sports Podcast, dropping the greatest hot takes the internet has ever seen at Hot Take Sports 16 on all socials. So go give us a follow.
And that is a wrap, right, Wade? So
absolutely.
Thank you all so much. Here's a quick word from our sponsors over at Dubby. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. Sports. Are you looking for an energy boost without the jitters? Let our friends at Dubby Energy help you with their fantastic selection of flavors. Just visit www.dubby.gg and use the code BITESIZESPORTS at checkout for 10% off your order total. Again, that is www.dubby.gg. Code BITESIZESPORTS.